Senator Whitehouse.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you.
We are here in the Senate Judiciary Committee in interesting times, given the food fight that has erupted in the far right between what I would call the Leonard Leo big polluter faction of the court capture effort and the Trump MAGA election denial faction of the far right. And it's going to be interesting to watch as different candidates come forward, whether they look more like Leonard Leo big polluter faction sorts, or whether they look more like MAGA election denial sorts. But clearly, when you've got the president blowing up Leonard Leo as somebody who hates America, something is going on. What we do know is that probably $600 million was spent in the dark money court capture scheme that has been operating now for well over a decade, well over 2 decades, actually, in this country, and that still funds front groups that come before the Supreme Court on a regular basis in little orchestrated flotillas to give the justices the message as to what it is that the big donors behind that whole enterprise want. And it may be that what President Trump is beginning to notice is that the justices that he put on the Supreme Court are actually more responsive to the Leo polluter operation than they are to Trump and his MAGA allies. If you look at the record, the fossil fuel industry essentially wins every time something important to them gets before the Supreme Court. And Trump is not winning every time. And it may have come to his notice that there's a bit of a difference between who's winning all the time and who isn't. And there's every reason to believe that during Trump 1, Leonard Leo and Don McGahn, who was his White House legal counsel, were actually operating for the benefit of the Koch brothers and the big polluters, that side of the operation, and that's where the loyalty and the policy fell. There doesn't seem to be any doubt any longer that this, in fact, was a political operation. Just recently, the Wall Street Journal, which has long been the mouthpiece of the Leo polluter side of this current squabble, published an interview declaiming that those judges have achieved goals for the conservative movement that have been on the agenda since the 1970s. They're trying to make Trump happy with the decisions that he made and to reassure him that this is a really big Trump achievement, whereas Trump and some of his allies are starting to recognize maybe this wasn't such a Trump achievement after all. Maybe he's the one who got played in this game. Maybe all those front groups that are appearing before the Supreme Court in those little flotillas and are getting those wins are actually reporting to somebody completely else than Trump and Trump world. So this is indeed very interesting times. You are affiliated with the Teneo group, which is a Leonard Leo group. Interestingly, in the recent hearing that my colleague just referred to about the newly discovered shock that there are national injunctions going on here, the 2 Republican witnesses, one sat in a chair paid for by Leonard Leo and his Marble Trust operation that he runs, billion-dollar slush fund for him from a billionaire, pretty sweet deal. And the other one wouldn't answer where his chair money came from. It got laundered through Donors Trust, the so-called ATM of the far right, and he wouldn't even answer whether he knew or not where the money for his chair was coming from. So my default proposition is that if he won't say, it probably is also Leonard Leo and the Marble Trust operation. So even in our hearings right here, we have this very potent internal food fight between the Leo polluter faction and the MAGA election denial faction. And I just wanted to take my time and point this out because I think it's highly revelatory about what has been done to the judicial branch of government by the far right. Thank you, Chairman.
Senator Schmidt.
Thank you. I want to first say